Hello guys, welcome to the latest live Ask Andy. I'm here for the next 30 minutes, so if you've got your questions, throw them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. The earlier you ask, the better the chance you've got of me getting them. Because basically I start at the top and work my way down. I'm here in two places as well. You might want to change how you watch this. I'm on YouTube up here on the big camera and I'm on Instagram just here. It's at Andy Clever Cash on both of them. So take your pick, however's best for you. We've already got some questions coming in through here already, or a comment actually. And this is from Foysha, who regular viewer. Hello, Foysha. Curve are introducing a new tier, Curve X, which they are going to be limiting the fee, and they are going to be limiting the features on the free version. Right, interesting. They've been saying for a long time about big changes coming soon, and I've been waiting for those big changes. They don't really have a press office. They're not massively responsive there for information, but that's really interesting. If whatever this new one is, if it does limit the free version, obviously, as soon as I get that information, if it's out right now, I will look at it when we finish this, and I will update my reviews on the basis of that. For those who don't know what Curve is, it's been something I've been quite a big fan of for a while. It's a card where it works a little bit like an Apple Wallet or a Google Wallet or something like that. But you get a physical card and you connect different bank cards, Visa and MasterCards only, sadly, behind it, and you can basically change which one you use for your purchases. So it's been pretty good for me in lots of ways like that, particularly like I've got business purchase rather than a normal purchase and not having all those cards on me. So if they do change things, that's going to be quite interesting. Foyshika adds on that they decided to opt for the metal tier. But yeah, it seems harsh. Okay, well, I'd let you know what's going on there. Christopher says, have you seen that the Coventry Building Society is an online savings account for 1.4%? Yeah, there's a few different places which are putting it up to 1.4% Building Society wise. I think it's Prudential have done the same as well. Basically, what we've seen recently with savings account, as we've seen those sort of base rate interest movement from the Bank of England, some of the accounts are pushing up bit by bit. They're not necessarily passing on that full 0.25 percentage point increase which happened earlier this month, or definitely not the 1.15% increase which we've seen since December. But they're doing bit by bit little increases. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of next month, we've got a lot more accounts around that 1.5% as they anticipate at the start of August, when we will get the next base rate increase, which is probably at the moment the expectation is that will go up again. So I suspect we'll see more and more places like that. And building societies often can be quite competitive here, not necessarily at the top, but near the top. And if you're interested in ethical places for your money, then building societies are not bad places to go at all. Something here, just check this thing on Instagram. A few things rolled past me, so let me make sure I don't miss on these ones. Hoodall says, hi Andy, I would like to thank you for your great advice regarding paying off the overdraft. Oh, thank you for that. No problem. You actually messaged me, didn't you? And so this is a great little story. If you want to share it in the comments, please do. But you basically got in touch with your bank and they've agreed to give you a 0% overdraft and refund some of the fees that you paid for a short period of time, which is going to save you hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. So I'm really glad I was able to help you with that. That's fantastic news. What else we got here? RF Huss says, what are the chances of petrol prices coming down, please? Wouldn't that be nice? Again, I'm not an analyst or who looks at the kind of fuel prices and knows what's going on there industry wide, but it does seem like the last report I saw a week or two ago from the AA or the RAC, one of those guys, talking about how maybe it won't go up, because it was going up and up and up, wasn't it? It really was going up. Maybe it wouldn't continue doing that and push prices above £2 on average. I mean, we were on the motorway the other day and they've gone over £2 a litre there for petrol, let alone diesel. But I think we're going to see them, I don't think there'll be a huge amount of movement for any time now, anything in the short term at least. They could come down. The government might decide to act and do something more about it. I often see these kind of socials being shared about how much money is actually taxed on how that much you pay per litre. And there's a huge amount of money there where the government potentially could do something about that to relieve the pressure on our bills, but of course that means they're losing income. So whether they're going to do or not is another matter. But sadly, I can't tell you if they are going to happen or not. It'd be lovely if they do though, wouldn't it? Let's quickly check back here. So we have got, Kyle says, hi Andy, huge fan. Thank you very much, Kyle. Very nice of you. Andrew says, about overpaying your mortgage or put your money into savings. This is the most recent video that I did, an article. So Sunday, I published the article and published the video on YouTube. So check that out if you're interested in this. Which one's best between overpaying your mortgage or putting money into savings? I appreciate there is a whole nother argument about investing in pensions, which I will tackle in a later video. Let's focus just on those. And Andrew says, I've never had the Nationwide Flex Direct account before. I have £1,500 to save. Is it worth me opening one now? The rate is 5%, or would you wait? Okay. So I personally, and I talked about this in another video about the Nationwide Flex Direct account, which has just gone up to 5% for 1 year only for the first time you get this account. It's in the podcast today, in the video I wrote about last week. If you have £1,500 in savings, and if you do not have not had that account before, then I potentially would look at opening up this account and getting that 5%. I think it's a good rate. You're not going to be able to beat it, at least in the short term. It's still well above what other places are going to get to. You might get the odd promotional account that goes up there, but I don't think that's going to happen particularly soon. And I don't think Nationwide will necessarily go more than this. The account used to be on £2,500 rather than £1,500. Maybe they would increase how much you would earn the interest on, and maybe you'd lose out a little bit there. But I think it's a good one to go for. Previously, I said pools. I think this is a good one to go for. You mentioned there about overpaying your mortgage or put it into savings. There are lots of factors here, so read the article, watch that video, but the main crux of this is what's paying the highest rate. So if your savings rate is higher than the mortgage rate, then put it in savings. If the mortgage rate is higher than savings, put it in the mortgage. 5% on savings is likely to be higher than most of you are going to have on your mortgage right now, particularly because rates have been so low for such a long time. But that's something to think about there. Sam says, how many switches should I do in 1 month before my credit score is impacted? I've just opened Monzo as a dummy account. Well, every time you apply for a new current account or a credit card or a mobile phone contract or an energy provider or a loan or mortgage or anything where they're hard checking your credit report will impact your credit score and your credit file. In the short term, it will knock it down a little bit because you've searched your file. Whether you're successful or unsuccessful, it is going to make an impact. Now, if your score is sky high and if you've got nothing important coming along, there's no balance transfer credit cards or car finance that you really need because you need a new car, or a mortgage application coming up in the next 6 months or so, probably not going to make too much of a difference if you do make 1 or 2 or even 3 applications in a short space of time. Broadly, though, the guidance is to maybe pace them out every 3 months. Don't do more than 1 search in a 3-month period. Okay, I've talked about this in previous lives. I personally have done this myself, where I have opened maybe 3 or 4 different credit check processes in a month, and I've gone down a little bit, it's gone back up, but I've not had anything major coming along. And this is my personal situation, the things I'm applying for. Okay, so you have to sort of weigh that up, what's going to be the best thing for you. But certainly you could do more things if you wanted to. So you could have multiple switches which require opening multiple accounts, but just be aware it will make an impact. Again, a whole article, whole video talking about this, so you've got more information there on the YouTube channel and on the blog. Fayette5 says, hi Andy, any upcoming switch reward accounts with RBS or NatWest? So we're in a spell right now where we're down to just a handful of switching offers. The Lloyds one finished yesterday on Monday. So we've got First Direct, HSBC, Nationwide and Virgin. They're the only core ones right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see many in July, and maybe as we get to the end of August, maybe we'll see Halifax come back. They tend to often do something around sort of August time. And then maybe NatWest or RBS might follow in September, and then the other one after that. Might be wrong. We could have stuff next week. But if they follow patterns the last few years, we might be a bit slightly quieter over the next sort of 6 weeks. And then we'll start seeing them ramp it up again in the autumn. But if you haven't taken advantage of the other existing ones right now, then definitely do check those ones out. Remember, you can do other banks later on when they return. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Can't guarantee they will, but I hope they will. Haven't had Santander for a long time. It'd be nice to see if they come back. You never know. They might want to do something in the next few weeks. Where else are we here? Mini Mad says, evening Andy. Hey, Mini Mad. Sebastian says, are Monzo good to bank with? I'm currently considering their recent... Oh, sorry. Rewind. Are my knees good to bank with? I'm currently considering their recent 1.5% cashback offer. But as it's only for 6 months, I'm not sure if it's worth pursuing. So this is a deal where you've only got a couple of days to get this one, right? It ends on Thursday, on the 30th of June. And by that date, you have to have opened up a Money's current account and paid £250 into that account. If you do that, you'll then be eligible to get 1.5% cash back from the 1st of July until the 31st of December 2022. Again, whole video and article goes into much more detail on this. And if you're an existing Money's customer, to get that cash back, you have to refer someone who does that by the 30th of June. Now, my take on this is you can use it just as a spending account. It does not need to be your main account. So you could open up the account, get this 1.5% cash back, and just transfer money over as and when you want to spend it. It's quite a good budgeting technique in lots of ways. So I'm going out, I've only got maximum of 50 quid I want to spend tonight. You transfer it over to that account, to that card, and you pay with it. And you get the cash back. And next time you go out, you put the budget on that you want to for that. Or you could do it in larger sums if you wanted to. This is how I used to operate Chase. Chase has never been my main current account, but when I was using that for cashback, I'm using some Amex cards right now for the welcome bonuses. But when I was using the Chase card, I'd transfer the money over, spend on it. When it got down to, I know, smaller amounts, I'd transfer it back over again. And generally, I would do that on the fly. The only warning, obviously, there is making sure you've got reception, because sometimes if you're out and about and there's no signal, as I was at a festival this weekend, my friend was trying to top up his Revolut card and couldn't because there was no signal. Then you want to make sure you've preloaded enough money on there, or just have another card as backup if you want to. But I think, yeah, why not? Go for it. Get 1.5% cash back and just use it for spending, not as your main current account. There are, as a detail in the video and the article, some other considerations that come into play there, so do check that out. If you do want to do it, you haven't got long to do it. And also, if you are new and you are going to open up an account, make sure you get either a referral link from someone who's already got an account, or there is general offers out there as well. Like I've got one that's worth up to 20 quid on my site. There may be other ones you can find online, so you get a little bit more money for joining up as well. Andrew, different Andrew here, says, good evening, Andy. What do you think about putting more than £85,000 in Chase? How risky could that be? So, 85,000. For those of you who don't know this, £85,000 is a really important number. It might sound like a magical, far-off, mystical number that we're never actually going to get to in terms of pounds. But this is important because this is the amount of money which is protected by the government under something called the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. So FSCS. I always get my C's and S's mixed up there, but FSCS. And basically that means if the bank was to go bust, up to that amount of money would be protected. You would get it back. It might take a few days, maybe a week to get that money back, but you would get it back. It would be yours and you would not lose it. Anything above that, tough luck, it's gone. And this also really importantly comes down to institutions which are the same banks. So First Direct and HSBC, you might think they're separate banks, but they're not. When it comes to the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, there is one £85,000 limit cover, which covers both the banks at the same time. So if you had 50 in both and the bank went bust, you'd lose 15k, you'd only get 85 back. They don't all work like that, but you can do more research on that if you want to. Now, Chase is part of JP Morgan Chase. It's one of the world's biggest banks. So you would imagine, based on that, the chances of it going bust are very, 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 very different to Monzo going bust, or I don't know, a smaller TSB who have had some struggles recently, you know. Not saying either of those are going to go bust, but you know what I mean. However, you never know. When we had that crash in 2008, 2009, you know, there were big banks, not necessarily high street banks, but big banks were deemed too big to fail, but they failed. So again, you're getting that 1.5% up to 250k and Chase. If you want to take the risk, you can. It's probably a much lower risk. But again, it's something to bear in mind that you would lose more, anything above £85,000 if you wanted to. If you were in a relationship with someone and you can have an account each, there are no joint accounts, but you can have an account each, then that would be a way of splitting the money across two accounts. That would give you two lots of £85,000. So I hope that helps you there a little bit. What I would also say is there are more banks now also catching up that Chase's 1.5%, if not actually beating it. You can beat it with Virgin Money, 1.56% on up to 25k. And again, you can get that on account for yourself, account for your partner, if you've got one on a joint account as well. So that's going to be 75k you can put there. And I think there is someone else doing 1.5%. And quite a few going at 1.4% as well. So there are options to spread your money out, which is probably a much safer thing to do. Right, let's go back to Instagram, guys. Don't want to neglect any of you. So, question here. After being declined for Monzo, how long do I need to wait before applying again? Okay, so why have you been declined for Monzo? You won't know this. They won't tell you this. But that's an important thing to think about here. And in fact, any credit application you get which is rejected, what you want to do, if they don't give you any information, you want to go and check your credit reports. And there are 3 credit reports you need to check from 3 different places called CRAs, Credit Reference Agencies. There's Experian, and you can check that for free via Money Saving Experts Credit Club. There is Equifax, which you can check for free via ClearScore, and there is TransUnion, which you can check for free via Nodal. Now, I've got a whole article and a video taking you through this as well, okay, so do that. But check your credit reports and look for anything that doesn't look right. See what's going on there. Are there issues? Something that's not yours? Has someone committed ID theft and they've sort of stolen your identity and therefore they're taking that credit in your name, and that's what part of the problem? Are there old addresses that don't fit in? Is there someone that you're linked to in the past who's had all sorts of problems and that's impacting you? So make sure all of that is as healthy as it possibly can be. Now, obviously, if you've had issues with other things in the past, I know, we talked about your overdraft earlier. It could well be they didn't want to lend to you because of the debts you had. It may well be that you need to get your credit file and your financial position in a much, much stronger position before you reapply. But again, it may well be you look at a different account. Interestingly, actually, Monzo should have a soft credit check. Going back on that, Monzo has a soft credit check, which is more an ID thing. Only does a hard credit check if you're asking for the overdraft. So if you don't need the overdraft with them, then potentially you could try, give it a while, but you could try again and apply without that. And hope, as long as again, check the credit report that your address is correct, your name and everything, that you are who you say you are, that's all proved in there, then that might be a better chance of you getting accepted for it next time. What else have we got going on here? Okay. So Kyle says, I'm with Chase Bank, and when I'm using the 5% roundup, am I best leaving it to build up and compound, or can I remove each month when interest is paid? So yeah, Kyle, I would absolutely leave this in here because the 5% will compound. Pretty sure of that. As soon as you take it out of there, you'll lose that. And I've got a feeling this is one of the ones, again, when they started, it was only for a year as well. So that might end after 12 months. They might extend that one. I can't recall off the top of my head. I'd have to double check it. But I absolutely would leave that in there if you don't need to access it right now, because that 5%, along with Nationwide's Flex Direct account offering 5%, you can't get better than that. So leave it there. Just let it compound. Let it compound. Using some of those other auto saving roundup features where it's a lot less, then I would move it to a higher paying account. So whether that's Plum or Chip or Monzo or Starling or whoever it might be, yes, I would move that across. But with Chase, I'd keep it in there for as long as you possibly can. And Adam's talking about Chase again. They're very popular with you guys. That's why I do so much videos on them, because you guys like them. Like the content, at least, if not necessarily the bank. I've just got my Chase account approved today. Congratulations. A lot of people have been waiting for this off the back of that kind of waiting room you've been put in for 3 to 5 weeks. And now people are starting to come through. Any news on more cashback offers to rival them yet? Cashback offers. Well, there's the Monies one I mentioned earlier on. Check out the video for that. That's not a bad bet. But if you've just got your Chase account, you've got that 1%, it's only for 12 months. Again, not as much as you get with Monies, but you might feel, actually, I'm just going to focus on Chase because you also get the 5% on the roundups and you might want to use it more. It's definitely, I think, a better bank. It's also protected by that FSCS compensation scheme that I mentioned earlier on. So you might want to go for that one as well. Matt says, stocks and shares ISAs, I think they're great for saving for the future. Don't you think? So yeah, I mean, this is one of the things where it comes to your money, there are different things you need to do with them and different priorities. And as I sort of detailed in this recent video about put into savings or overpay your mortgage, before you even get into that, you need to make sure your debts are cleared. And then you need to make sure you've got an emergency saving buffer. And then you need to think about any immediate savings or short or mid-term expenses coming up you need to save for. You can't just pay for them from your salary coming through. Once you're after that, there are lots of things you can do with your cash. And certainly thinking longer term. So broadly, the general guidance is, 5 years or longer to ride out any sort of ups and downs of the markets. And right now, obviously, it's very much sort of going down. You'd hope that over the longer term, you'd make more money from investing, whether that's in your pension or a stocks and shares ISA, than you would having it in cash. But broadly, I think it's important to have like a mix of all those things, including maybe overpaying your mortgage. Right. Mini Matt says, any updates on switching offers? Just covered that right now. Nothing new right now. Steve says, how do you get Sky Sports for $9.99 a month? So this is a very limited offer that it did end, but I got an email again today from Now TV saying it's going to end again on Thursday. So whether it's a different offer just for me or whether it's a broader thing. But this is a very, very low price, which you rarely see it that low. It's via something called Now TV, which is basically owned by Sky, and it's their equivalent of Netflix. You pay every month by month and you stream it. You don't need a dish. You don't need Sky Glass or anything like that. You just need an app on your telly or another device to watch it and use different packages for different types of Sky programming. The sports one, normally £34 a month. There often offers bring it down to £25 a month or £20 a month, sometimes £18 a month. The way to find them, well, I'll share them when I spot them over on the Now TV and Sky Sports deal page that I have on the blog. It's well worth making sure you get emails from them, because often they'll send you stuff directly. Or you can go into your Now TV account, click on your membership section, and then when it shows you the passes that you've currently got, and maybe there's none of them, maybe there's one or two, there's also a bit at the top that says offers for you. Sometimes there's nothing in there, but sometimes there is a bespoke offer. And that's where you might find right now, if you've got a Now TV Sports account and haven't got an active Sky Sports pass on your Now TV account, you might see it for $9.99. That is for 1 month only though. After that, if you don't cancel, it will go to full price, or maybe there'll be other offers. When the start of the Premier League season, football season, I imagine we might see some £25, £20 offers for maybe 3 months, 6 months, something like that, because they want you to sort of tie in for a longer period. What else we got going on here? Let's just check the guys on here. Someone's asked, how often do I go live? If this is your first time you've joined me here on the live, normally it's every other week. And I try and do it twice a month. And those months where we have like a 5th Tuesday, maybe, probably will. But broadly, every 2 weeks I'll be on here, depending on what else is going on, for about half an hour. So we've got 10 minutes left today. If you want to know when they're happening, the best way to do that is to sign up to my newsletter, actually. This goes out on a Thursday morning to everyone with the best of the blog, best of the podcast, best of the YouTube channel, the best deals that I've spotted as well. This is like everything I do, all the content I do kind of leads to this Thursday morning newsletter. And that is when I will share the next date as well, before anywhere else. So that's a great place to know when I'm going to go live next. Plus you get all the other content and things like that as well. Plus, if you've not used Quidco before, there is an exclusive first time you sign up via the newsletter, you also get a £17 Quidco bonus as well. So that's a nice little perk as well, if you fancy the idea of that. What else we've got going on? Okay, let's jump back onto here. Simi's asked me about investing. What's a decent platform for someone new to invest in? I don't talk about investing a lot. I'm sure regular viewers, you'll know this isn't one of the things that I don't say good, bad, whatever. I'm not an expert in it. So I don't like to talk about something. If I know 1 or 2 platforms you could use, if I don't know all of them, I'd rather not sort of say what to go for, because there could be a much better one out there. So I would look for someone who can tell you about all different platforms. The main things you need to be aware of here, though, are the fees. So make sure to see how much you're being charged. There also might be a different range of sort of things you can invest in. So whether it's funds or individual stocks and shares or trackers or whatever it might be, some of them might have a more limited range of those you can go for. Personally, though, my thought on this is on investing, and this is generally what most people seem to be saying, I think people who know what they're talking about will say this, is you want to go for like trackers. You don't want to be sort of, I really want to invest in this. I really want to invest in this company over here. That's much, much riskier. That's for people who are much more experienced and are not starting off. They kind of, once you've got a rough sort of thing going along, you know what you're doing, you've got a bit of spare cash, then maybe you can look into some of those more sort of bespoke things. That's my opinion on it. Other people might disagree. But again, I don't talk about investing all the time for that reason. So I recently switched to Nationwide Flex Direct. I was under the impression that I would get £100 as I wasn't a member, but I got 125 quid. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Nice to know, isn't it? So you didn't even have to jump around all the little tricks to get the extra money. You got the extra 25 quid as well. So that's nice. Is there a reason why I got this amount? Could it be a lost account or something else? I mean, there is the potential that somewhere you've got an old savings account that you forgot about, and that's maybe why you're doing it. You're still classed as a member. I mean, you could always ask them and just kind of just check what other things I've got. I mean, if you go into your online banking, all the different accounts you have should be showing in the online banking. And if you've got Flex Direct, then you're going to need the online banking for that anyway. So hopefully something will appear there. For broadly, those who don't know about it, the switching bonus, £100 if you're not a Nationwide member, which means you do not have a savings account, current account, or mortgage with them. £125 if you are. And that's still going. It's been going for 11 months now with no end date. So it could be go at any time, but it's still there. So definitely one to look at. Tevin says, hi Andy, brilliant channel. Thank you. I currently come to the end of my 0% interest with MBNA. Which would be the best card to balance transfer to? So when I talk about any credit cards, maybe with the exception of credit cards, cashback credit cards and reward credit cards, the best credit card you can get, well, okay, let's rewind slightly. With all credit cards, the best credit card you can get is the one you've got the best chance of getting accepted for. Because you don't want to get rejected. Because if you're rejected, have to apply for another one. There's also an increased chance you might get rejected again, and if you get and so on. It could be a vicious circle. Okay, we talked about earlier with bank switching, opening new current accounts. You don't want to have too many credit applications in a short space of time. When it comes to balance transfer credit cards, there are a few different things to think about. One of them, again, I think really importantly, what one are you most likely to get? So if you go into, I would say, to a comparison site and look at the different options there, you might find that you want to look at more than one comparison site, because sometimes they're only going to show you the deals for the cards they get paid to promote. This is a general practice that most of them will do this, okay? So maybe you look at 1 or 2 places. They might even have different deals on different comparison sites. Do an eligibility check, get those scores up, see which ones you might, if you're pre-approved for something, bingo, that's a fantastic one. You can get that one. If you've got 4 or 5 of them with the equal rate, all 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, whatever it is, the best chance you've got, then compare the different ones you've got there. And the things to think about are, how long is that 0% deal? The 0% deal length, you want to try and ideally think about, right, can I clear this debt in this time? How long do I need? I'm going to be putting, let's say you're putting 50 quid onto the card every single month. How many months do I need to get it down to zero? Is that possible? With the lengths of time that are being offered. And then have a look at the transfer fee. Now, this could be around 3%, 3.5%. It could be a lot less. It could be 1%. It could be zero. The 0% transfer fee ones, they're often shorter periods, but they still can be a year and a half. So you need to factor in, okay, if I can clear it in this time without a fee, that's obviously much, much better than getting a longer deal, even though you've got longer to pay it off, but you're paying a transfer fee. The flip side of that is sometimes these balance transfer credit cards will have welcome offers. Now, that could be directly from the comparison site, directly from the credit card company, or via maybe a cashback site like Quidco or Top Cashback. They give you 20 or 30 quid for a successful balance transfer. So successful acceptance of getting the card and a successful balance transfer. That might be worth more than the transfer fee, how much you paid in the transfer. In which case, they could be better than going for a card with a shorter time and a 0% fee. Hope that makes sense. But certainly I wouldn't go, oh yeah, go for this card or that card. Look at your eligibility. And then once you know which ones you've got a chance of getting accepted for, look at those different variables there. What else got going on there? So, hi, I'm Gareth. First rate mortgage is starting soon. They will only take a direct debit from a first account or an HSBC account. What benefit is there to using direct debit to compared to a standing order from my household bills account? There probably isn't one. I think, yeah, absolutely, you could do that. Take a standing order, the money goes in. You know, it's the same thing. It's a regular payment that happens every single month. Yeah, I don't think there's a massive issue there. What I would say is both First Direct and HSBC, if you are eligible because you've not had an account with them by certain cutoff dates, I can't remember the dates right now, they do both have decent switching offers. 150 quid with First Direct, 170 quid with HSBC. So what you could very easily do, standing order goes into that account. If you only want to use it to set the direct debit to the for the mortgage, go for the HSBC one. 170 quid is yours, and then the direct debit comes out of that. The money goes in a couple of days before the direct debit comes out. Nice and simple. But otherwise, I can't think of any real issues there. There's no extra protections you'll get from a direct debit than anything else. Stephen says, I noticed over the last few weeks that banks' interest rates are increasing, but banks don't put their rates up straight away. They seem to wait to just before the next one and increase it, then knowing it will go up again. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the places, similarly with mortgage rates actually, they'll see where the things are going and they'll anticipate it and then they'll move it up a little bit in advance. Sometimes people will wait and they'll do it after. So you do definitely see a bit of movement before an interest rate comes along. And then a bit of nothing and maybe a bit afterwards. But they certainly, as I said before, they're not passing on the full amount, that's for sure. So how are we doing? Right, we've only got about 3 minutes left. Oh, blimey, there's loads of questions come through. Okay, right. If you haven't been able to answer your question, okay, and let's do another 5 minutes, okay? If I haven't been able to answer your question today, the best place to ask it is either in probably 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, whenever I do the next one of these, earlier on the session, so I'll get to it quite early on. Or go to the Facebook community. So becleverwithyourcash.com/community. That's the URL that would take you through to the Facebook group. You need to apply to join. You can ask a question there. And if I can't help out, because I don't always have time to answer all the questions I get, which is why I do this, because it means I can sort of do everything all at one go. There are 1,700 other people, a lot of you here watching now are already part of it, but many, many more as well, who will also be able to chip in and give you their thoughts and their advice on bits and pieces as well. So if I haven't answered today, then make sure you do join the community or get here early next time. Right. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. Tiptoe Mouse says, how can I get a referral code to join my knees and get the bonus? Yeah, so I would have a look. You go on to places like Reddit or have a look on social media, ask around if anyone's got a referral code. In fact, they're actually the video I did on the offer on last Friday. A few people have shared their referral codes on there as well. You'll be able to find the options there. I don't allow referral codes in the Facebook group just because it becomes really spammy. Every time you get a notification, it's a new message, it's just a referral code. So we don't do that there. But certainly comments below this video, and you grab those. I don't have any problem with that. That's slightly different. Werewolf 906 says, what do you make of the We Are 8 social media platform which pays you to watch adverts? Don't know that one. Haven't used that one. I'm always a bit skeptical of any of these kind of things which pay you little bits of money for doing these things, because broadly, I think your time could be better spent elsewhere, doing the big savings. The things maybe might be not as easy, maybe not as sexy, but switching your bank, changing your broadband, changing your mobile phone. If you haven't done those things, They're worth hundreds of pounds, and they take maybe 20 minutes to do them. Maybe a little bit longer to look at your insurance. It's a bit dull. It's a bit more hard work, but savings can be massive. These services where you're doing surveys, most of the time you're looking at pennies. I don't think it's worth the time. Obviously, some people, if you're really, really already at your wit's end and you haven't got any money, and you're trying to find all those places to find extra cash, then absolutely, then it's worth maybe looking at those things. But yeah, your rate per hour is not going to be that fantastic. You're better off, enjoying your life, or maybe trying to get a side hustle or more shifts or a second job or something like that. I think that's my opinion. Many people would disagree. What else got going here? Tracy says, does a credit application with the same company as you're going to remortgage with help or hinder, e.g. a current account or a credit card? It's impossible to say. Every single lender will have their own criteria. So they have the information that the credit reference agency sends through. So that's going to be very similar to what you see. They'll have that information. They'll have the information that you put in your application. So there'll be extra bits you put in there. They might ask for your salary, for example. And then they'll have any information they have as you as an existing customer. Now that information as an existing customer, I guess that can go both ways, couldn't it? If you can demonstrate to them already that you're loyal and you do all this, that, and the other, maybe they'll like you more. Or maybe they go, well, we don't like, they've done this over here, they've done that over there. Really, really hard to say, unfortunately, because every lender will do it differently. Ollie says, oh, okay, this is good. I hadn't seen this one. Have you seen the new top cash lifetime ISA rate of 1.25%? Do you think it's worth transferring, or is it holding off to other in case other rates rise? And with Beehive Money paying 0.8%. So I haven't seen that one, but I think if you can transfer it across, then transfer it across. 1.25%. That is a big jump up from the 0.85%, which was the best one prior to this, just a few days ago. So yeah, just check that it allows transfers in. Not all of them will allow transfers in. And obviously the other thing you have to bear in mind with lifetime ISAs is that it's very hard to open one up if you're over 40. So this is something which surely has to change at some point, and there are options out there. Some of them will let you do this, and you may not be over 40. But there are some which don't let you open them, which is really frustrating, particularly in the investing stocks and shares lifetime ISAs. But yeah, and if you can transfer it over, you're limited in terms of how many you can have in a financial year. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind here with any ISA, not just lifetime ISAs. If you have paid into that lifetime ISA since April the 6th of this year, then you probably won't be able to, if you transfer it over to a new one, you probably then won't be able to pay in more money into that until the start of the new financial year. So probably what you might want to do is maybe wait until you've maxed up your allowance that year if you can. But again, double check that. There might be potentially some accounts that let you do that. But broadly, it's one per year. That's all that counts. If you transfer it and close it, I don't think there's a loophole there, but there might be. Let's double check here quickly on Insta. Guys, I'm running out of time here. So thanks, so many of you got these late questions, but like you saying, thank you. Someone asked if I do financial coaching and mentoring. Sadly, I don't do that. I don't have time for that. But again, as much information I've got, there's stuff on the YouTube channel, stuff on the website, which hopefully can help as much as you can. And I think, right, I'm going to have to call it a night there, guys. So many questions there. I will try and have a look at these as well, and maybe put them into the Q&A, which I publish as well. But broadly, remember, places to come. Next time I do a Q&A, probably 2 weeks time, but check the newsletter for the publication date on that. Join the Facebook group, becleveryourcash.com/community, and get the newsletter, becleveryourcash.com/subscribe. And that will give you the dates of all the other things that are going on and the best of all my content. Right, guys, enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you very soon.